Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Welcome to episode, I think it's number 190. I hope my count's right, but if not, who would know at this point? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Trying to catch my breath after what a crazy week in the Big Brother house, right? We're going to talk about all that. Before we do, let me start off with the big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV. Especially love Big Brother, and especially love you guys that come out here every night, either live watching on Monday nights, that'd be like right now, and those of you who watch it later on replay. I know not everyone can be out here every Monday evening, so those of you watching on a replay, I haven't forgotten you guys either. We try to keep, in fact, if it ever doesn't show up, let me know. I keep the comments going on the replay so you can see all the conversations that take place, because I know I'm up here talking, and there's some other comments going on, a whole different conversation during the show as well. Welcome to all of you. I hope you're doing fantastic. With that being said, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. There's a lot going on during Big Brother season. Please consider a subscription, turning on notifications, and you can hit the old thumbs up while you're out there as well, because you know I'm all about the thumbs up. Just me as a person, and heard it helps the algorithms as well, so I appreciate that. All right, with all that being said, we got a lot to talk about, so let me get out real quick and just see who all is out here on this this glorious Monday evening. All right, Marilyn Sutherland, how are you doing? It's been crazy in the house. We're going to talk all about it. Patricia Miller, Gillian BAF, welcome aboard, Patricia. Or Gillian, I mean, Patricia as well. See, Tim Cox. Hey, Tim, how are you? Michelle Moore, Karen W., Ed, Karen Hummer. Let's see, Marion, Desiree Watts, Ryan 51, Cindy Hire. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Tommy Braskett. Tommy, how are you, sir? YTCJC Star 1015. Howdy. Mark Taylor, Angie Hung. Angie, how are you doing up there north of the border as well? Michelle Moore, Brian Hostetler. Brian, how are you, sir? Colleen, let's see if I can get through these quick. Anna Martins as well. Doreen Morris, Paul Long. Hey, Paul. Tommy Flanagan. And let's see, Chaz as well. Taylor Mangus. I love seeing all these names out here. Andy W. And let's see, Katrina Pina, and we will just cut it off right there. Sorry, so many of y'all, which thank you for that. We're going to try to keep up with as many questions as we can this evening. I know we've got a few of them, so let's just get right into it. What do y'all think about Big Brother? Kind of a crazy week from Thursday onwards, huh? Yeah, I was glued to the TVs, to watching it. Well, between the TV and my phone, trying to play the different channels at the same time. Little hectic at times. We still have a lot of people in the house. Y'all realize we're down from 16 to 12 people. Still a lot of people be having conversations. Let me say this before we go any further. We are going to be talking about some spoilers. I think what was the last bit of the episode showed the HOH competition, the wall comp. So we know at this point now, everyone who's watched that knows that Tucker won that wall comp. Wasn't that something? But we're also going to talk about the veto competition. We're going to talk about the veto ceremony, which took place today. So if you aren't in the mood for spoilers, that's why we've got this show on replay. You can catch it a little bit later. I love it. What a great week. Let's not even talk right now about all the flips and betrayals and everything else that took place. Just the competitions themselves. The wall comp, and then for the veto, the hide and go veto. Two iconic competitions that we're going to talk about. All right. First of all, Tim Cox saying, how is Spider Bite doing? What a comp beast. Yeah. Spider Bite, Peter Parker. Now we know where Tucker gets his superpowers from. We did see, for those of you who may not be aware, after the veto competition, Tucker had circled, or someone had circled on his leg where he apparently got a spider bite. They were waiting to see if the swelling got better, got worse. At one point, he was actually going to see a doctor if it got any worse. He mentioned kind of waiting for the doctor. You know, you got a few, because remember, this is not a real house. It's just a sound stage. So you do have a few critters in that place. I don't remember ever worrying about spiders with us. Ours was more the bees. We had ants everywhere, but they weren't the biting kind. But bees and stinging things and things like that out in the backyard. I can't say I'm completely surprised that you may not have had some spiders and stuff show up, considering everyone's flipping over all of the beds, everything possible that's not nailed down. Probably got flipped over. And so, yeah, I could see some nasty, creepy crawlies hanging out in some dark, dank places. And so, yeah, I hope he's all right, but obviously didn't seem to phase Tucker too much. All right, Karen W is saying hello from Vegas. Viva! Love Vegas. I need to go back out there. Howdy, howdy, howdy from Vegas. Glad they brought back hide and go veto. Do y'all? Yeah, me too. Do y'all realize the last time they had hide and go veto as part of a Big Brother season was during my season, during season 21. Mine was the very last veto discovered. Came down to Tommy, Bracco, and myself. I felt a little betrayed on that because Jackson Mickey knew where my veto was. We had an agreement going in that he was going to not find it. I wasn't going to find his. Nicole was part of the conversation as well. At the end, he betrayed me. He found mine and let Tommy win that thing and tried to say, oh, I misunderstood what you'd said. Nah, he was just worried that I was going to use a veto to maybe pull off someone that he didn't want to pull off. And Jackson Mickey. Yeah, I had a blast. I spent all season, because our hide and go veto was fairly late in the season. I spent several months looking for the best places to hide my veto, and I found a couple of them, and it worked pretty well. But here's the thing. If you don't remember ours, our veto wasn't just a small little thing like this. It was a big red stop sign looking thing that we had to hide. And when we got that, there were several places I immediately thought, gosh, I think it's too big to hide in that space. So for me, I hid it. I was able to detach one of the drawers from the bathroom, put it underneath that drawer, and then put the drawer back in. And it was one of these that has one of those funky clasps. It doesn't feel like the drawer actually comes all the way out. And so I thought, oh, well, that's great. You know, they're not going to realize that you can pull it out and then see it underneath. And it worked pretty well. It was a pretty good hiding spot. But I'll give you a little inside scoop on how hide and go veto works and why I think we didn't have it for the last few years. And it has to do with COVID and all that. When we were outside, we were told it's hide and go veto. And the way it works is that one person at a time would go into the house. I think you had 5 minutes to hide your veto, and you would hide it. Once you hit it, you came back out. Then production would go into the house, remove your veto, and make it look all good as new, but take your veto away. The next person would go in. And that way, if anyone never put their veto in the same place that you would put yours, they wouldn't find your veto. They would put it there, and then producers would remove theirs as well. Once everyone placed their vetoes down, then if any two people had put them in the same location, production at that point would then say, hey, Cliff, hey, Nicole, y'all need to go back in and rehide your veto in a different location. And so that's what they did. And so as a result, after each of us hit our veto, someone would come into the house. And so with all of the concern about COVID and keeping exposures limited and all that, I think that's why we didn't have hide and go veto for several years. But they brought it back this season. Now, I hate that we didn't get to actually see it on the feeds, but we'll see it as part of the episode itself. It sounds like Tucker blew up because people messed up his clothes. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me get to some other questions, then we can come back and talk about hide and go veto a little bit more. All right, let's see what we've got on here. Ed is saying, how many more evictions until jury, and who do you think isn't going to make it? We don't know for certain how many people are on the jury. Typically, you're going to have 9 people in the jury, which would mean 2 people sitting in the chairs asking for their vote, 9 people on jury. That's 11 folks, which means that you have 5 people that are part of the pre-jury. We had that during my season. I think we've had that for the last few seasons, right? There's no guarantee. They could go. There was some talk in the House about what if it's only 7 jury members? What if it's 11 jury members? Well, we don't know that because we've already seen the exit interviews. We know Cedric's not part of the jury, or he wouldn't have heard everything he heard. So we know it's not more than 9, but I think it'll probably be 9. That's pretty standard for Big Brother. If that's the case, we only have 1 more eviction before you get to jury. Who's that going to be? I sure think it's going to be Brooklyn at this point in time. For those of you who aren't aware, I mentioned spoilers, so I'll go ahead and say it now. Yes, Tucker won the wall comp. Tucker also won the veto competition, which was a hide and go veto. And And Tucker at the veto ceremony today. Now, this may be news for some of y'all. At the veto ceremony today, Tucker did use the veto. He used it on Quinn, pulled Quinn off the block, and he put up Chelsea. He had talked about that for the last 24 hours. He was going to do that, but he was telling the other side, Chelsea and Brooklyn and all of them, that Quinn was the actual target. So he blindsided them unless someone gave them news ahead of time this morning. And we don't know for certain just yet. But as a result, we've got Brooklyn and Chelsea and Cam on the block this week. Brooklyn target number one. If she pulls herself off with the AIBB Arena, then I think Chelsea is the next shot. Cam is probably safe this week. That could change. But yeah, I think Brooklyn may be our last pre-jury member. We'll see. We still have a few days left. But for right now, I'm thinking probably Brooklyn, and she is not happy at all. All right, Marion is saying, is there anything you could wear to help minimize the coldness you feel during the wall comp? Can you wear a hoodie to protect your face? That is a fantastic question. And Marion, I wish I'd thought about it during my season, because I don't remember the wall comp really being that cold until I got done. Once I fell off the wall, then I was miserable on the side waiting for the other people to finish up because I was soaking wet with that goop. If y'all saw the wall comp, that goop they shoot on you, it's not slime from Nickelodeon or something else. Now, this stuff is more like a dishwashing soap that has some food coloring added to it. It's very, very slippery. We saw Joseph after he fell off the wall, even just trying to get to the side, he slipped a couple of times. So it's very slippery type stuff. But I remember during our season, we had ours was a haunted wall kind of thing. We had these huge, big weighted balls slamming into us every few minutes. Didn't bother me. I had a little extra cushion, so that didn't bother me. But we got sprayed with the same kind of goop and slime and everything else. And it wasn't so much the being cold part, it was just affecting your grip and your ability to hold on. That was a little tough. But getting back to your question, yeah, I think there were limits. For example, I don't think they would have allowed you to wear gloves if you were out on the wall. That probably would have been told no. Wearing long sleeve versus short sleeves, I don't think that would be a problem. Wearing a hoodie, I think probably would be allowed, although it would not surprise me if you showed up with your hoodie. I don't think they'd let you pull it in tight and close and cover up most of your face. They would probably say, hey, you can wear that while you're up there, but the hoodie has to be off your head. Something like that. Because they'd say it's because they want a good shot of your face for filming and all that. I think more than anything, they just wanted to make it kind of fair for everyone else. So yeah, it was unspoken rules. I'm sure if someone went beyond what was allowed, at that point you would be told. None of us had any of that happen, but it was always a challenge before going outside, not knowing what kind of competition it was, trying to decide, do I wear long pants to protect my knees? Do I wear long shirts because it's going to be cold, versus having something that maybe gives you maximum flexibility? You just never knew when you went out there, unless they gave you a costume to wear, which was the case for a lot of veto competitions. Other than that, it was kind of your call most of the time. All right, Karen Hummer is saying, did they give you earthquake timing or training before going into the house? Nah, they didn't. I don't remember them saying a word. They had another earthquake in the house. I had two of them during my season. One of them, 4th of July, just barely felt it. The second one, though, was while we were all in the kitchen, and those old lights were swaying, and you could hear the creaking of the doors and the windows and everything. It was enough that we were hiding in the door frames, under tables, anywhere. I mean, it seemed pretty intense. For an old Texas boy who's not used to a lot of earthquakes, it seemed pretty intense to me. But no, there's no earthquake training. I do think, if you've seen, there's a book that people occasionally are looking through in the book, and it has a lot of instructions on battery packs and things like that, but it also has instructions on how to evacuate in case of a fire, in case of a crazy person coming of a fan leaping over the back wall. The Olympics are over. Maybe we've got some pole vaulters coming over the wall or something. All kinds of instructions on that. But there also, I think, is a page on earthquakes and what to do. But fortunately, we had some folks from California, and the rest of us, we've seen Earthquake, the movie, and things like that. So we kind of knew what to do. I don't remember them specifically giving us training. Maybe they will now that we've had a few years of earthquakes hitting. But yeah, I was a little bit worried just because it wasn't a real house. It was a soundstage. So you never know just how tightly some of this stuff is put together. But yeah, I don't remember any specific training on that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Marion is saying, how far do you think Tucker will go in the game? Here's the thing. Tucker is such a calm beast. But just like Michael from a couple of seasons back, you can be good 99 times straight and you're going to dominate. You're going to have full control. Everything's going to be going your way. But that one time that you don't, your whole world could fall down around you. Now, Tucker has been helped by the fact that going on the block, you don't have just one chance at veto to pull yourself off, but you've had two chances, veto and BBAI arena. So two different opportunities to pull yourself off the block, which in some ways I feel like that's really providing an advantage to the people that are better competitors. But on the other hand, we haven't had these hardcore physical competitions. The wall was maybe the first comp that you could say there was a little bit of strength, endurance involved. Well, a lot of endurance, some strength as well. But for the most part, these challenges have been really fair for anyone. Anyone could win them, and yet Tucker just keeps winning them. But how far will he go? I think we're through with AI BB Arena after this week. I really think once AI Instigator takes place, and y'all tell me who y'all are voting for AI Instigator. All right, Angie Hung, who would you love to win AI Instigator? And Colleen saying Tucker for AI Instigator. All right, well, thank you. See, y'all are thinking ahead for me. With the AI Instigator coming on board, I think we're through with the AI BB Arena. So Tucker can only win HOH every other week, right? And then he's having to depend on someone else. Is he going to depend on Angela to win HOH? Now, I know she's won 2 of them. That doesn't mean I'm betting on her to win a whole lot more for the rest of the season. Is he betting on Rubina winning a lot of HOHs? It's tough to say. It's probably not fair of me to even poke fun at anyone saying they're not capable of winning HOHs simply because he is so dominated so far. And of course, Cedric won 1, but now he's gone. Angela's won 2. But the first time that he doesn't win one, I can see if it's someone like, say, a Chelsea, I can see her putting Tucker up on the block and convincing people to vote out Tucker while they still have the chance. But even if it's a little bit later in the season, when you're down to 5, 6, 7 people, at that point, you're going to see people saying, look, if we don't get him out, even his most loyal allies, I think are at that point going to say, look, if we don't get him out now, when are we going to get him out? And so I think as a result, by the time you get towards the end game, he's not going to have a whole lot of friends trying to keep him in the game. Everyone's going to be ready to boot him out the door. And if he is still taking some risk like he has done so far, then again, you only have to screw up on one competition and you could really be in trouble. The first veto that he doesn't get, if it comes down to a vote and Vita and Tucker is one of the 2 people sitting in those chairs, I think Tucker could go home. So I'm not calling him out to win this whole thing. If he makes it to the end, props to him and he deserves it. Normally, I don't cheer for the guy who's dominating. I like to cheer for the underdogs, but there's something about the way Tucker's played this game that I'm kind of okay with it. He's playing risky. He's playing aggressive. If he makes it work, fantastic. If he doesn't, well, no one's forgetting Tucker anytime soon, right? He's really turned this game upside down. Now, I will say this. Whether I'm cheering for him or not, the one thing I do miss this season, I like to see a lot of people, different people winning HOH, because it gives us as viewers a chance to see how a lot of different people play the game. When you're HOH, do you play it conservatively? Do you play it aggressively? Do you try to make big moves? We don't know because there's so few people who have had the opportunity to share power or obtain some power so far. I know our season, there's some people like season 21, some that don't. One of the things that was cool in our season, everyone talks about Jackson Mickey being this comp beast, and he was at the latter half of the season. But through the first half of the season, I think we had more different HOHs during our first 6, 7 weeks than anyone else did. I think Holly was probably the first repeat HOH, and that didn't happen until week 5 or 6 or something. We had a lot of different people sharing power, which I think made for a more dynamic game during the early stages. We haven't really seen that so far. And now Tucker, even if he doesn't win, because of the threat of him winning veto or whatever other competitions may be coming up, he just kind of rules a little bit by intimidation. People are afraid to go against him because, my God, what if I go against him and he survives? At some point, people are going to start talking more and more, I think, about battle back. I think as soon as Julie announces that they're in the jury phase, everyone's going to say, well, we're in the jury phase, and she didn't say anything about battle back. People are going to assume it's going to be after a jury battle back. And then people are going to be worried about, well, what if I evict Tucker and he comes right back into the game through the battle back, and now he comes after me? And there's just no winning in that case in a lot of times. All right, real quick, a couple of Justin Richter. Thank you, Justin. I see the I guess we call it the super stamp out there. I appreciate it. He says, thank you for all the recaps work. It's a labor of love, a labor that leads to a little bit a lack of sleep occasionally, but I'd be up watching anyway. It's just the way I roll. When I tried out for the show, I told the producers, I said, I watch all the live feeds because of FOMO, fear of missing out. I don't want to miss anything that's talked about. And they all thought that was hilarious. A 50-year-old guy would say that. But yeah, but I appreciate the support. I truly do. It's fun. It's weeks like this that make it all worthwhile. So thank you, sir. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the super sticker as well. And Marilyn Sutherland, thank you, Marilyn. Man, you've been out here forever. Absolutely one of the hardcore Cliff Notes folks out here. I appreciate all your support. I love seeing your name out here week in, week out. So I appreciate everything you do to support this program. I appreciate it a lot. All right, let's see some more questions that we've got on here. TCJC Star 1015. Do you think Big Brother would be easier than you thought before going on in real life? Well, let me say, do you think Big Brother would be easier than you thought before going on in real life? It was harder. It was harder than I thought. When I went in for the first time, I thought, all right, it's going to be, just matching wits. It's just a matter of me trying to figure out, can I win enough competitions to stay alive when I need to? Can I play enough social game that I can convince people to target other people? Picture playing. I talked a lot about playing Risk. That was our family's go-to game forever. And I pictured all these times where I talked one of my brothers into attacking my other brother, even though I was more powerful because I was able to just finagle the story. And I thought it was going to be like that. Or playing poker where you just bluff your way through deals. It seems easy enough, right? You either win or you fail, one or the other, but it's all on you to do that. What I didn't count on when I went into the house was that it's like playing Risk, but instead of making a move every few minutes, you're making a move every couple of days. So there's a lot of time for a lot of people to have a whole lot of different discussions during that time period. And unlike the game of Risk, where I'm saying something and then someone else is trying to convince the person to do something differently, and you get to hear all the arguments pro and con and adapt to what other people are saying. You can't do that in the Big Brother house. And that was the toughest part for me, is arguing, trying to identify what other people's objectives were and what was the best way to convince them to do what I wanted them to do without always knowing what other people were telling them and what other people were convincing was their objective and their best course of action. That was the tough part, was so many conversations that you weren't privy to, and knowing that you only had this very small segment. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together and they only give you one little corner of the puzzle and you're expected to figure out what the overall picture is. And it's just almost impossible to do. It's almost worse. Instead of giving you one little corner, it's like giving you 16 random pieces from across the whole puzzle. And you don't know what in the world, where they go or anything. So yeah, it was definitely much tougher than I expected watching it on TV. And even some of the competitions, we saw the wall comp. People like Cedric was, it's going to be a 15-hour long wall comp. Well, no, they got done, and suddenly Chelsea and others are saying, wow, that's a lot harder than it looks like on TV. Dang right, it's a lot harder. You see on TV, you've got a little incline of, 10, 15, 30 degrees. Whatever, I can hold on there. It's a lot of incline when you're hanging up on that wall. It's so much tougher. The competitions and the mental strategy and just the boredom and the paranoia of being stuck in that house for so long. And people, just boneheaded people that you have to put up with as well. That makes it a little tough as well. All right. Let's see. Chaz is saying, do you think this season has a chance to rank as one of the top 10 seasons? Yes and no. I think if Tucker continues to dominate, I think that's going to drag the season down a little bit, just because we aren't going to get to see enough flux and movement back and forth. I think the great seasons, look at, for example, season 20. There was enough movement back and forth, and that you see. How do you rank a great season? You rank it either by a couple of fantastic players in the game, or one that was uncertain and very unpredictable from start to finish. I think it tends to be one or the other. Now, is Tucker a great player? Well, maybe. That remains to be seen. I think a great player is more than someone who just wins a lot of competitions. We're all going to get tired of it. Right now, we're fine. But if Tucker wins another 4 or 5 vetoes, another couple of HOHs, it's going to be a little bit like last season with Jag or Cameron at one point. Remember, he was the comp beast for a while. We're going to be like, oh, gosh, over and over. It becomes too predictable. And so I think if he keeps on winning, you're probably going to see it drop a little bit in terms of the overall ranking. I'll tell you right now, based on cast, I rank this as one of the top seasons. I really like this cast. There's a lot of variety with these folks. And other than, someone like Cam, who I really don't feel like is actively playing the game, but we've got a lot of big personalities in this house they're playing a lot of different game styles, and I like seeing that as well. So from a cast standpoint, I'm already ranking it pretty high. From a gameplay standpoint, we don't know yet. From a twist standpoint, so far I'm okay with it, but we got a lot more twists to go. All right, we talked about AI Instigator, and I just completely forgot about that. I need to get some votes in. I haven't done it yet. Who would I want as AI Instigator? I was thinking about that. I was talking to Sharon earlier. I want someone who's going to cause maximum chaos. Someone, Angie, I don't know if it was you or someone who said Tucker to get it. That would be interesting. You know who I would like to see get AI Instigator, I think, is maybe Mackenzie, only because I'm not real sure where she's landing. She seems to be attaching a little bit towards Brooklyn and Chelsea and Cam, but she's also still trying to stay friendly to the other side to some degree. I think it'd be kind of fun to see what she did if she got this Instigator. Who would she go after? Would she keep it a secret? Surely whoever gets this power knows enough to keep it a secret, unlike the first 2 powers we had in this game, right? If someone keeps this as a secret and can cause chaos in this house, that would be a lot of fun. I think Mackenzie would be interesting. Rabina maybe would be interesting. I just don't know that she would keep it secret. And then that spoils it all if that's the case. What about Angela? Can you picture Angela having a power that causes chaos in the house and knowing that no one can pin it on you as long as you're careful about the way you use the power? She would just thrive. She would get so giggly thinking about having that kind of power and doing something with it. That would be a lot of fun. Tucker, I feel like he's already got enough power. Let someone else have a little bit more limelight for a little while. But so I'm maybe going to say Mackenzie or Angela would be kind of cool to have the Instigator. But we don't know exactly what it is yet. So we'll find out. All right, Mark Taylor is saying, who are your top 3 for Big Brother? That's a tough one. I knew that question was going to come from someone, Mark. I don't, excuse me. I don't know. I think Quinn and Tucker are just playing a little too hard. If they make it, then give it to them. But I think they'll go after each other enough and take each other down at some point, or paint big enough targets on each other's back that neither one makes it to the end. I think Chelsea and Brooklyn are probably not looking great right now. You know, I don't know. I was going to say, I hate to just put the floaters out there, but I'm actually probably going to say my top 3 I could see being, I think T-Core and Chemo are in pretty good position as long as they don't start trying to do too much. They made this flip on Thursday night. It worked wonderfully. They're getting blamed by Brooklyn and Chelsea and all that. They'll survive those blames. But I'm afraid, especially T-Core may try to start pushing too hard, that people need to do what she wants to do instead of just kind of riding the wave every once in a while. She really was pushing hard not to have Chelsea go up on the block and to have Mackenzie go up instead. I think she should have taken a step back. But having said all that, I think T-Core and Chemo right now probably are not on anyone's list as the top target. Now, as we get further in, there'll be people who are ready to get rid of them. But I think the two of them, they're third person, maybe Joseph. I mean, as much as I think Joseph has more confidence than he probably deserves or needs, as much as I think he maybe feels a little bit more the master than maybe he is right now. I also think that he is doing a pretty good job of staying tight with a lot of people. Does anyone trust him completely? No. We heard T-Core saying, he tells us about these conversations. They don't always match up with what was actually said. So I think Joseph has to be careful. He's a little bit like Quinn Jr. In that Quinn was trying to make deals with everyone, being everyone's best friend. Eventually that came back to bite him a little bit. I think Joseph could face some of the same if people start comparing notes. But I also feel like Joseph has done a decent job about staying friendly enough with everyone that he may not be anyone's top target. So I could see Joseph going pretty far in this. I don't know. Here's the thing. At the end of this thing, you can have the best social game in the world, but you still need to win some competitions, right? That was my issue. I felt like I was pretty good on the social game, but I needed to just win one or two more comps at the very end, and I think I would have been gold. It didn't happen. The three people I just threw out, Chemo and T-Core and Joseph, they've had a few comps where they've come kind of close. Joseph's come close once or twice. Chemo won that first AIBB arena, so it maybe is there for one of them to win some competitions, but I haven't seen enough from them yet to make me think that they're going to be able to turn on that side of the game at the end and do what they need to do to survive. But I think they're in a pretty good spot right now. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Nate Clark is saying, if you could form a 5-person alliance with 4 people from 4 separate seasons, 2 women, 2 men, who are they? Wow. All right. Well, now here's the thing. If I'm forming an alliances, do I pick people that I think are some of the best players in the game? Or do I pick the absolute boneheads that I know I can beat when it comes right down to it? I don't think I want to pick the people least capable of playing the game, because they're the ones that are going to go off and spoil the secrets or form new alliances that I don't know about or something. So I'm going to, gosh, that's a tough one. I'm going to play this as though I'm picking the people that I most admire, perhaps, or that I would have the most fun playing with, that I feel like I could most contribute to the game with. And right off the bat, I'll give you 1 man and 1 woman. I'm probably going to pick Vanessa Russo for one of the women. I'm going to pick Ian Terry for one of the men. Now, after that, who do you get? I'm going to pick Brittany Haynes, right? I'm going to pick Brittany just because she's a decent player. She would be fun to interact with. She's got a good social game. So I'll pick her as the other woman. For the other guy, let's see. I've got someone that's strategic. I need someone who's a little bit of a comp beast that could be fun as well. I'm going to pick Johnny Mack. I think now they were thinking that I could pick someone like a Corey or someone like that was a decent player comp wise, but maybe not someone that I have to worry as much about from a strategic standpoint. Not that he didn't play the strategy game. I don't remember that as much about him, but I think I'm going to pick Johnny Mack just because I would have fun hanging out with that guy. And I feel like he was a decent player as well. So there you go. Spend 30 seconds thinking about it. My alliance is going to be Vanessa and Brittany, Johnny Mack, and Ian Terry. I don't know if we'd win or not. I mean, we'd probably tear each other up, but I think we'd have a lot of fun playing the game as well. I'd be okay with that. I could give probably twice as much. I'll form a 16-person alliance, and I guarantee the alliance will survive to the very end. Someone will. Yeah, it may not be me, but we'll make it work. Now that would be a fun 5-person alliance if I could be in with those guys. Now I could go the other direction, say Donnie Thompson and Kevin Schluber, and just have Glenn Garcia, have it nothing but Felicia, Rennie. You got to have Rennie from and Jerry as well from season 10. I will get all the folks my generation. We'll just play it out against each other. But now I'm pretty good with that alliance of 5 that I picked out, so we'll stick with that. All right, let's see. We've got Lisa D saying, Quinn and Tucker had a good conversation. Tucker wants him in the game and respects him, but Quinn doesn't believe it. I think I saw that conversation and I thought that Quinn did a pretty good job of recognizing when it's important to hide what you're doing and when you just need to fess up and come clean. And I mentioned on my recap this morning, I feel like we've seen Tucker enough to realize that Tucker likes to be told that he's right. He doesn't like to be told that he's wrong. Remember, Angela was saying, "Hey, Lisa doesn't have the power. Quinn has the power." Well, Tucker didn't believe it. He said, "No, I know it's Lisa." He's not one that easily will admit that he's wrong on anything. He likes to be told he's right. And as part of that, we've seen Tucker spend a lot of time talking to a lot of people saying, I can read your body language. I studied psychology and this and that. I can tell just by the way you're acting, the way you're talking, the way everything about you that you're lying or that you're telling the truth. He likes to think that he has an extra sense about him that he can detect this kind of stuff. And as a result of that, and him wanting to be right as much as he wants to, I think Quinn approached it the right way. Of Quinn coming and saying, "Yeah, you got me. I'm not going to try and hide anything from you, Tucker. I know better than that because you can read me like a book. So, yeah, it's this, and just come clean." And I think by doing that, he kind of stroked Tucker's ego a little bit. Tucker gets his ego stroked, and then suddenly he doesn't have the beef with you that he has before. There's a lot of Tucker about respect. And I think you hear some of his stories about growing up and all of that. And he hated to be called out for lying when he didn't lie. He had some family stuff. I think Tucker's all about respect in the real life, and it carries over. You can't play a different game than you handle the real world in a lot of ways. And I think for Tucker, a whole lot of his life is about respect. So when someone comes in and says, "Yeah, I'm not going to try to BS you. Yeah, you got me. You can read me, and this is what it is." I think that just gets Tucker feeling good about that person. I did a little bit of that with Jackson Mickey. There were times where I went in and just kind of kissed up a little bit to his ego and stuff as well. And he was a lot about respect. You fight hard, you do what it takes. And so you've got to figure out the people that you're talking to and adapt your strategy to the type of person that's in the game. And I think Quinn did that. He didn't try to hide it. He just kind of laid all his cards on the table. I did the same thing when I talked to Tommy right after I got blindsided. I just came and said, "Look, you know everything there is about me. I'm not coming after you. I'm going to wait for the alliance to blow up. Once it does, I hope that you and Christy maybe will grab me and use me as a vote." And just kind of laid my cards on the table. And I think some people respond to that. Tucker is one of them. So, yeah, I thought Quinn did a fantastic job. Now, the problem is at the end of that, Tucker said, "Yeah, all of this is great. I respect you as a player and all that. We'll hang afterwards. But I still don't know that I necessarily trust you." And I know Quinn doesn't trust Tucker either. And without the trust, there's only so much you can do. But I do think that's going to help both of them for at least the next few weeks, potentially survive. If Quinn wins the HOH, I think he turns around and puts Tucker up anyway. But then he lets other people vote out Tucker. And so he doesn't necessarily have the blood on his hands that way. They're never going to be best buds inside the game. But I think a level of respect does provide a little bit of protection. As long as Tucker has said, as long as there's other snakes out here, why go after the guy who fessed up to everything? I'm going to go after the people that aren't willing to fess up, that aren't playing the game the way Tucker thinks it needs to be played. So, yeah, I think Quinn did a good job with that. All right. Donna McCarthy saying, "I love how Tucker is playing Hope since he removed Quinn off the block. Quinn doesn't go after him for a while. I hope that since he removed Quinn off the block, he didn't go after him for a while." You would hope that, right? I do agree that pulling Quinn off helps a little bit, and it may make it a little bit easier. I don't think that Tucker by himself would be able to keep Quinn from coming after him. But if Quinn was to get HOH, I can see people like Chemo and Tikor telling Quinn, saying, "Hey, look, he pulled you off as a way to show you that there's a certain willingness to work with him. You scratch his back, he scratches yours, kind of deal and all that." And I think other people could talk Quinn into finding bigger targets. I think just out of a little bit of pride, I think Quinn would potentially still put up Tucker and say, hey, I'm going to put you up, but realize that you're just a pawn. I know you're going to win veto. Stroke his ego a little more. Say, I'm putting you up only because I know you're going to win veto. And by winning veto, Tucker, I know that you're going to keep my real target on the block. Maybe that's Angela. So, yeah, I think Quinn will still put Tucker up, but maybe not as serious a target as well. All right, let me look at this real quick. Dr. Bose, welcome in yet again, Dr. Bose. Thank you. Thank you for all the support you continue to give me every week. Dr. Bose is saying, Cliff, love your show. Were you actually ever able to see or talk with anyone in the diary room, or were you just talking to the camera? I was just talking to the camera. The way it works, you walk in there, you sit down, you take your microphone off, you put in a little soundproof box. They say, okay, Cliff, just sit tight for a second. Let's get you focused, focus in on you. And there's a camera in front of you going back and forth until finally they got you on the focus. And then, okay, Cliff, tell us what's going on. Or, hey, Cliff, what'd you think about that nomination ceremony? And they start in with the interviews. There's no one to be seen. You hear a voice, and the voice is coming out of a speaker that's off to your right and down on the ground. And that's why sometimes you'll see some house guests, when they talk to Julie Chin during the live vote, they'll go, Julie, you look exquisite. Or they'll talk down to the side. That's because that's where the voice is coming from. Now, I have noticed the reflection in some of the house guests, their glasses and things like that. It appears that there is now some kind of a TV screen in there as well. And I have a feeling that's probably from Matt last season, hard of hearing. So I think they had everything closed caption type system so he could read what was being said. And it appears that maybe they left that screen up for other house guests. But I still don't think they're seeing anything. They're just hearing the questions asked. Now, you get asked questions by different producers. It's not just one person all season. It depends on, I think there's different producers for the live show versus the other episodes, for the game part, for the strategy part. I never figured it out, but I just knew that sometimes I'd go in, I'd talk to a female voice. Sometimes I'd talk to a male voice. I didn't know who was who. There were other people in my season. Oh, did you talk to so-and-so? Well, I don't know. I don't know their names. I talked to some disembodied male voice. That's all I know. Some people paid more attention to it than others. But yeah, so I never saw anyone. It was just a camera in there, Dr. Bose. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it so much. And Terry Thomas, a super sticker as well. Terry, thank you. You've been out here for forever as well. And I appreciate all the support you give me week in, week out. That's my family. I mean, I've got my real world family, and then I've got my reality TV Monday night family as well. And y'all mean a lot to me. Best part about being on Big Brother, playing the game was fantastic. I sure didn't think that 5 years after playing the game, I'd still get to be out here interacting with all the other reality TV fans doing something like this. Terry, I absolutely appreciate you. Thank you so much. It means a lot. I hope you understand how much it does mean. All right. Christian Cisneros is saying, what is one thing you would do differently from your season if you could? Just one thing? You just want one thing? I don't know, because there's a whole lot of coulda, shoulda, wouldas and regrets and what if I did this, what if I did that. One thing beyond absolute any other measure that I would do is I would not worry as much during the first part of the season when I was just trying to survive week in and week out. If there was one thing that I could possibly do, I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I would cast my vote to keep Ovi. It was a unanimous vote to send Ovi out the door. Ovi was my best friend in there. We really were friends in there. And I love that guy. And he didn't deserve to go out with unanimous vote, but I was so scared to go against the house and have someone point a finger at me because I'd already been on the block. I originally was on the block. Sam used the veto, pulled me off. Ovi went up. I hated that too, but Ovi went up in my place. And I was pretty certain that I was going to be put on a block week after week until I did something differently. So I didn't want to do anything that could cause anyone to point fingers at me. And part of that was not voting for Ovi. If I could have done that differently, I would have. It would have had no impact in the game, I don't think. I think people would have understood it. Even if it had been beforehand, if I just told everyone, say, let me give them a sympathy vote. Y'all are cool with that, right? And I think they would have said yes, but I didn't. That's the one thing I'd love to do. Other things, there's a lot of, you hear people all the time, Cliff, if you'd voted out Holly instead of Tommy, you would have won the whole thing. Well, I'll disagree. I'll stand my ground. I still stand by what I did on that one, but certainly there's a lot of people have talked about for the last 5 years about that particular decision. There was another situation during the double eviction. I thought long and hard about pulling Christy off the block with my veto, putting Mickey up, and then that point either sending Tommy home or sending Mickey home, one or the other, but I would have had the power to decide which one. That could have certainly shaken up the game. I just was worried that then I'd have a bunch of people coming after me at that point. And then the other one was after I won HOH, I worked a deal with Christy. I could have had a huge move that week, betrayed Christy, put her on the block next to Jack. One of them would have gone home, and I would have had all kinds of people talking about and applauding the move and all that. I think it also would have been that I was probably a pre-juror, or certainly would have not been destined for playing a very long game. It would have hurt my game if I did that. But there's certainly things that I wish I'd done differently in there. But mainly, I just some of the folks, I was so focused on the game sometimes. If I'd had a chance just to sit back and take a breath and have a little bit more fun even than I did while I was in there, it would be fun. All right, Janet Johnson is saying, is it hot or cold in the house? It depends on who you talk to. First of all, Janet, thank you for everything you do. You're always out there on YouTube posting in the comments, encouraging people to subscribe. Thank you. I recognize that. For me, it usually was hot. I remember sitting there trying to sleep at night. The lights are on. It just was hot in there. And I'm like, well, do I just sleep in my sleep shorts and no blanket or sheets on or anything? And the cameras are just like zoomed in and they're going to see all kinds of cliff hog. Or do I pull a sheet up over me and just sweat in this bed? And that's kind of gross in its own way. There was a time or two where I remember talking to Big Brother, say, hey, Big Brother, if you could just turn the AC down just a degree, or I'm not asking for much, just a couple of degrees would be fantastic. Other people are saying, Big Brother, can you turn the light? Please turn the lights off. Please turn the lights off. That didn't faze me nearly as much as just turn the temps down a little bit. Now, having said that, as soon as we got into September, towards the end of our season, last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it got cold in our house to the point that if you watch a replay of our season, suddenly we're all wearing hoodies and jackets and no one's running around. Of course, Nick was gone by then, so no one's running around shirtless anymore inside that house, but we all were dressed a lot more warm at that point. Is it because the outside was cooling down a little bit? Yeah, maybe, but you're in LA. There's not that much of a change. I think they turned the AC down, and I think they did it on purpose so that we would start dressing a little more warm. And I think they did that so it would look like a change of season on Big Brother, that during the summertime, we're all wearing just swimsuits. Suddenly, as you get to the end, as you're closing out, winter is coming, and suddenly now we're all bundled up and all. I think it was intentional. That's my own little personal conspiracy. Kat doesn't own all the conspiracies from our season. That's my conspiracy. But for me, it was always hot in there. All right, Erica White is saying, don't you think that the instigator is a curse? That person will be hated when it's done, right? Well, it depends. Is the instigator going to be revealed? Is there going to be a point where the instigator has to raise their hands and say, yeah, I'm the one that caused the chaos in this house for the last week? Or can they just take their shots, we don't know exactly what they're going to do yet, but it's a possibility that whoever gets it is going to just raise all kinds of ruckus and then just blend back into the woodwork and not say a word. Kind of like a virus in the machine type situation, right? I don't know. Of course, my fear, if I'm the instigator, what if I do all this stuff and then it turns out that, oh, you are going to be revealed? The extra little twist. We forgot to tell you that you're going to have to fess up at the end of it. That would be a little concern. If I got the power, first thing I'd be in there in the diary room and saying, all right, you either tell me that I am going to be revealed or I'm not going to be revealed. Or if you tell me that you don't know, I'm going to assume that it's going to be revealed. But I would be demanding to know a little bit more about the rules before I decided to play along with it. Yeah, if they have to fess up at the end, it could definitely be a curse. But if that happens, then they're not going to want to do nearly as much. And I think as viewers, we aren't going to appreciate it nearly as much. So I hope production realizes as long as it's anonymous, this person can go crazy in the house, and we as viewers are going to appreciate that. So here's to hoping that it stays anonymous and they don't have to fess up. And if that's the case, it's not a curse, but an incredible power. I would have so much fun screwing with that house. Yeah, make me the instigator, and I would have had a blast. All right, Tiffany Martin is saying, I forget Cam is still in the house. Is he? I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm the same way. Maybe it's just a brilliant strategy. Maybe once we get to the jury phase, he is going to be the most charismatic, go grind, nose to the grindstone, play the game. He's going to win every other competition. He's going to be leading every single flip and charge. And we're going to look back and say, oh my God, he took 4 or 5 weeks, but then he just exploded in there. I don't think so. I think, first of all, I don't think Cam is a long-term fan. I think he is a recruit who's only watched a few seasons. So he probably doesn't appreciate, he doesn't have the passion for the game that a lot of us who watch it do. And so he's not going to worry about being good for TV or anything else. He just wants to survive week to week. And so far, he is seeing that the people who do big stuff get targeted afterwards. That's his experience. That's his exposure. So why should I speak up when everyone else is speaking up and getting shot down every time? He's the guy in the military who's going to say, yeah, I'm not volunteering. Y'all go rush the line. I'm going to sit right back here and enjoy my coffee, and I'll survive it, and y'all won't. Now, eventually, that doesn't last forever. Eventually, he will get sent home. Even if he doesn't do anything, he will get sent home simply because he's an easy number to send out that doesn't offend anyone and doesn't help whoever's in power. As an example, my season, Sis got sent home. Mickey was HOH. She got all upset, said, what did I ever do to you? And Mickey said, well, you never had any power, so you never had the capability or the opportunity to do anything to me. But it's not about what you did to me. It's what you didn't do. And you didn't help me at all. So why should I worry about keeping you in a house? And I feel like Cam could be the same situation where eventually someone's going to say, why'd get blood on my hands going after this person or whatever? You're an easy one to get out. They just hit the road, Jack, kind of deal. And maybe he changes. But for right now, you're right. He might as well not be in a house. He has to stay over at the Holiday Inn and just come over on Thursday nights, and you'll be good, Cam. We'll deal with you in a couple of weeks. All right. Tommy Braska is saying, I think MJ is really starting to work with Tucker. It seems like it, right? And Nanny is saying, did y'all see MJ corner Tucker in the kitchen? It looked like he was in love with her. Funny y'all should say that, because my wife, Sharon, as insightful as she is, told me the exact same thing. I don't get to watch the live feeds as much during the day because, work and things like that. I try to keep up, but Sharon was telling me the same thing. She said, I think MJ and Tucker maybe are getting ready to be a little bit of an item, especially if something happens to Rubina. Now, I did notice Tucker even talking to Chemo last night or yesterday said, Rubina didn't even tell me about the Underdog Alliance. I feel like Tucker already is looking for reasons to not go against Rubina, but just looking for reasons to distance himself from her just a little bit. And as he does that, is there an opportunity then for Mackenzie to come in and maybe get some of Tucker's attention? I think it's a possibility. We saw Mackenzie, it could be, especially because Mackenzie is one of those, she gravitates towards the people who have power. What we saw, was it last night? He was up in the HOH room. She came in, she crawled in the bed next to him, sheets over the top, which kind of a different level. It's funny in that house. Some people are more picky than others. No one really, at least during my season, no one had an issue with other people coming up there and laying on the HOH bed, as long as they were over the blankets, the covers, and all that. If you pull back all the sheets and everything else, you better be a little more friendly with the person whose HOH it is. That was just kind of the dividing line. Well, Mackenzie went past that line a little bit. So, yeah, I think I think you are maybe onto something. I didn't pick up on it, but Sharon did, and it sounds like you did as well. So we'll keep an eye on it and see. All right, real quick, we've got Cindy Hire. Cindy, thank you so much. For those of you, surely y'all know, Cindy is one of my moderators. I appreciate everything you do, Cindy. We've had you on the show once. We need to do it again, especially knowing that. Are you still planning to go do one of the evictions this season? We're gonna have to hear about that a little bit as well. And Cindy is saying, please wish Taryn happy birthday. Taryn, happy birthday. Hope you have a fantastical birthday celebration. Enjoy every single bit of it. If you're in the Big Brother house, we'd bake you a cake and get you a little alcohol and let you wear little pointy hats on your head. Angela got to celebrate 2 birthdays in the house. Not everyone gets that. Jasmine got a whole month, but most people don't get any birthdays. Angela got 2 of them. Cindy, thank you so much for the support. Not just with the super sticker, but everything that you do for this show. It means a whole heck of a lot. What time is it? 7:56. I knew we were going to have to rush through this stuff. All right. Justin Richter is saying, Joseph already thinks he's James Bond. That's a good description. That's a good description. Let's give him the instigator and see what he does with it. I think that is a brilliant idea. Now Quinn's the one who wore the maroon coat. We need to get Joseph a black tuxedo, and I think he could pull it off, right? He's got a Sean Connery look to him, maybe if you close your eyes, perhaps so. Now I could see Joseph embracing the role. I truly could. Yeah, I think he'd have fun with it. All right, I'm changing my vote. Instead of Angela or Mackenzie, I may vote with you and go with Joseph. See, I'm glad I didn't cast my vote yet. Yeah, Joseph would be fun. I like Joseph. Brooklyn talked about Joseph having an ugly face and all the stuff that she hated and all that. Yeah, I don't agree with any of that. I think Joseph is growing on me. I wasn't sure what to think about him. Video store clerk, and I wasn't real sure. He's kind of fun. I can certainly see why they cast him in the house, and I'm cheering for Joseph. So yeah, let's get him the instigator. I'm buying it. I'm all for it. All right, let's see. Misfire. Hey, Misfire, how are you doing? I didn't see your name out earlier. Are you assigned a different producer for every show? I don't know. I have no clue because I didn't remember their names. They're probably saying, God damn, Cliff. He doesn't remember any of us. No, I didn't. I'm a visual person. I'm not an audio person. And so I didn't. I feel like every show, and it was so back and forth because you would be asked stuff that maybe wasn't being used on the next show, right? It maybe something that's being prepped for one of the upcoming episodes. They tell these storylines and they're kind of sometimes disjointed when they bring you in to put it all together. So I don't know. You would get called to the diary room 2 or 3 times a day, and it was different people at different times. Now, the other thing too, I do think it matters whether you got called in during the day or at night. Sometimes, because I tended to get up earlier in the morning, I sometimes talk to producers in the morning, whereas the people who had talked to them the night before had different people, just because they're working shit. And we're in there 24 hours a day, but I hope those producers aren't locked away 24 hours a day. They may be. There may be a whole different Big Brother competition that we as viewers are not even familiar with. Wouldn't that be cool if there's Big Brother behind the scenes and it's all the producers fighting to be the number one producer and having to backstab the others and fighting on who gets what storylines in the season and all that? Maybe I'll have to write a little fan fiction on something like that. No, I have no idea how they were assigned. I'm just guessing based on different people asking me different questions, but I don't even know how many there were. I'm guessing 4, 5, 6 different producers, but I'm just guessing. All right. Alejandro Rodriguez is saying, gig 'em Cliff. Woo! Class of 2017 here. Well, thank you. I love to hear a little gig 'em thrown out every once in a while. I watched an A&M football hype video that I think is from back in 2011 or so. It doesn't matter. Those things are timeless. Class of 2017. I'm class of 1987, so I got a few more years on the old class ring than you do, but welcome and howdy and glad to have you on board. I'm missing me some A&M. I need to get up there and visit. It's so cool that we got Mackenzie on here. Do y'all realize we're here? Mackenzie fought for her life because she would have gone home if she didn't win that AIBB arena, right? I mean, I think we all know that. Instead, she rolled the balls. She rolled the balls and she won and she saved her life. And that was during week 4. During my week 4, I fought for my life rolling balls, a little bit different, but rolling balls down a ramp in order to save my life. So 5 years ago, I fought for my life. And then 5 years later, another Aggie does the same thing. Both times rolling balls in week 4. I just thought it was some kind of synchronicity in there or something. So I definitely will point that out to Mackenzie somewhere down the road once she's out of that house. All right. With that, guys, it's 8 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and shut it down. Thanks to all of y'all. Thanks, Ma, for your dedication, being with us during band practice. I hope that's going well. I drove by the local high school, saw them out practicing today. I thought about you, Ma. With that, happy birthday, Ma's mom. I missed that. Thank you, Sharon, for pointing that to me. Ma, I'm really glad you're doing well, and thank you for figuring out a way to make a whole lot of college keeps you busy, right? But I'm glad you're out here, guys. I'm glad all of y'all are out here. Have a fantastic week. I will be back tomorrow morning to give a recap on what happened overnight. I'll be back next Monday to talk about yet another week. We'll know what the AI instigator is by then, so that's going to be fantastic. But until then, please, again, if you haven't already done so, go out, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications, give it one of those big old thumbs up, and that's always appreciated. And with that, guys, SKD143. I love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV. Love you guys that come out here every Monday with me, and those who watch it on replay as well. I know there's probably questions I didn't get to. Send them to me by DM. I'll be happy to answer them, or send them to me early, and I'll try to catch them for next week's show. I'm doing my best, guys. I truly am. But when we're all so passionate about a reality show, it makes it tough sometimes. Y'all have a great Monday. Have a great week. I will see y'all next Monday. Until then, I'll say it again. SKD143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. All right, guys. Y'all have a great one. Cheers, my friends.